Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into the fantastic comic series, Black Hammer. It's a story that kicks off with a really interesting question. What happens to superheroes when the very world they saved completely forgets they ever existed? So let's start right there with that mystery. Picture this. After saving the entire universe from some massive, reality-ending crisis, the world's greatest heroes just vanished. No victory parade, no statues, no memory. They were simply gone. And that's the central question that drives Jeff Lemire and Dean Ormston's incredible series Black Hammer. It's a mystery that, as we'll see, peels back the layers of superhero history itself. But the answer to where did they go? Well, it's not what you might think. Nope, there was no glorious retirement. Instead, they're stuck, trapped in this quiet, inescapable prison, a farm in the middle of nowhere. For a whole decade, they've been forced to hide their pasts and pretend to be ordinary, normal people. Now, to really wrap our heads around this mystery, we first need to look at who these forgotten heroes are, because who they are says a lot about the bigger history of comics. So check this out. Each character is basically a direct homage, a love letter to classic heroes from the golden and silver ages of comics. I mean, you can think of them as living, breathing pieces of comic book history, right? They're not just characters, they're stand-ins for entire eras of storytelling. They represent these archetypes from a more straightforward, maybe more hopeful time, a time that our modern kind of cynical world seems to have just moved on from. So here's a thought. What if this farm is more than just some physical prison? What if it's actually a metaphor for something much bigger, something that's been happening to the entire superhero genre for a while now? All right, let's dig into a really key concept here, superhero deconstruction. It's this whole idea of taking these mythic, larger-than-life figures and grounding them in a gritty, flawed reality. And this concept, it is absolutely central to understanding the powerful message of Black Hammer. The comic really suggests that the farm is where old ideas are sent to die. It's where characters and concepts are kind of put out to pasture when they're no longer seen as modern or, useful enough. Yeah, it's like a purgatory, a waiting room for characters that the comic book industry itself has decided are unsuitable for today's audiences, who seem to demand more complexity and a lot more darkness. This directly mirrors real-world events in comics. The big one is DC's massive crisis on Infinite Earths, which famously just erased decades of history and dozens of characters from existence. So here's the crucial point. Their exile wasn't some random accident. It was a deliberate choice, a sacrifice made to streamline continuity, to simplify the universe, and really to make the whole superhero genre feel more legitimate to a modern audience. But this brings up a really critical question, right? What's the psychological price of forcing these mythic, almost godlike beings to be just like us? What happens when a hero's greatest enemy is just normalcy? For decades now, the trend in comics has been shifting away from simple heroism. The idea of a hero who just does the right thing because you can, well, for a lot of modern readers, that's just not enough anymore. In Black Hammer, this whole demand for relatability gets pushed to its absolute breaking point. The story shows that this deconstructed approach, while it's interesting, is ultimately just unsustainable for these characters. It's breaking them. I mean, being stuck on the farm forces them into these stifling domestic roles that are completely against their true natures. They're not a super team anymore. They're a deeply, deeply unhappy, dysfunctional family. And this whole conflict just plays out perfectly between two key characters. On one side, you've got Abraham Slam. He's the burdened father figure who's trying to accept their fate. And on the other side, you've got Golden Gale, the rebellious daughter who violently rejects this prison of normalcy. But, and this is what's so cool, the series doesn't just tear things down and point out the problem. It bravely suggests a way to build things back up. And this brings us to this really hopeful idea at the heart of the series. It's not just about deconstruction, it's about reconstruction. The story isn't just about breaking the genre apart, it's about trying to rebuild it from the pieces that were left behind. And this, right here, perfectly illustrates the path the series seems to be forging. It suggests it's not about choosing the past or the present. It's about finding a way to honor the legacy of these classic heroes while still embracing the kind of complex storytelling modern audiences crave. What's really cool is that even the artwork itself embodies this theme. Dean Ormston's style, it feels like it's from the Golden Age, but it's drawn with this modern, expressive flair. It's a visual blend of the classic and the contemporary, and it perfectly mirrors the story's goals. So, the ultimate argument the series seems to be building is that a genre's history and its future don't have to be at war with each other. It's proposing that it is possible to create something new that respects and builds upon everything that came before it. And so, Black Hammer leaves us with this powerful, lingering question. With the series only partially complete, it really suggests that the best way forward for superheroes isn't to erase the past, but to rescue what we've lost. The blueprint for the future of the entire genre. It might just be found by looking back.